Be sure to check out the important reminder at the end of today's video.
Welcome to GOS Media. I'm Samantha Van Valkenburg. A small town was quickly becoming a not so small town, and the city fathers wanted a monument to remind the citizens of their past and inspire them for the future. The fathers began debating who should create this monument. Some wanted to hire a world famous sculptor so it would draw national attention, while others wanted an up and comer so they would be the first to commission his work. The oldest member of the council rejected both options. He explained that an outsider could never capture the genuine heart and spirit of their little town, and thus, they should consider a more local sculptor. The other men agreed wholeheartedly and began looking for a local artist to create a monument to inspire past and future generations. The look upon the high school art teacher was both surprise and trepidation. Never in his wildest dreams did he ever imagine that he would be the one chosen for such an important project. The art teacher was flattered and equally nervous, for he felt the true weight of what they were asking. He began his journey by visiting the library to learn about the founding and early history of the town. Completing his study of the past, the high school teacher wanted to interview the town's people so he could discover the collective heartbeat of their little community. But instead of just sterile interviews, he and his wife invited individual families for dinner. It was during these informal breaking of bread and fellowship that he truly learned what made his little town unique. It took several months of preparation, but finally, the time came for the high school art teacher to lock himself away and begin crafting the monument to their history and a beacon into their future. After 9 months of day and night work, the art teacher announced that his monument was ready to be unveiled for all to see. It was a carnival-like event the day of the unveiling. All the schools and all the businesses closed for the day. Vendors of all sort lined the streets. A parade was held down city center. The band was playing inspiring music, and, of course, the politicians were giving speeches. Then the time came to unveil the monument that everyone had been waiting for. The mayor pulled the rope. The covering fell. But instead of sounds of joy, a collective gasp was heard throughout the town. The folks weren't exactly sure what they were expecting, but they weren't expecting the thing before them. The art teacher had sculpted a man sitting on a park bench, crying as he read a long list of regrets. Behind the man was another park bench looking in the opposite direction, and sitting on it was a young man staring into the future with fear in his eyes and dread carved into his face. Needless to say, the carnival fanfare soon gave way to the sound of crickets as everybody quietly went home. The town's fathers were really disappointed in the high school art teacher. Yet, the art teacher stood by his work. The teacher said it was the true reflection of the town's history and its attitude towards the future. The town fathers regretted their choice, knowing that there was nothing they could do about it, fearing what newcomers would think. And so, there it sat, right smack dab in the middle of the park, located right smack dab in the middle of city center. After about 3 or 4 months, something unique began to happen. The old-timers of the city and new folks moving in began taking a real interest in the monument. Soon, they realized the sculpture was intended to be jarring at first sight. Yet, the more they looked at the statue, the more the old-timers and new arrivals began to interact with each other. As the old folks shared about the past regrets and their fear that outsiders would take over the town, the newcomers shared about their fear of the future in a new town and their regret of leaving their comfort zone. In an odd sort of twist, the more and more both groups continue to share with each other, a real connectedness formed, deepening their mutual trust and support. This they did by focusing on their day-to-day opportunities, rather than grieving their past or dreading their future. Before you knew it, the young and the old were celebrating the town's historical past and its hope-filled future. Sometimes it takes a real shocking event to wake us to our fears and regrets. And as we see from the story, it doesn't matter if you're old or young. We are all subject to anxiety about tomorrow and remorse over yesterday. Left unchecked, our anxiety and remorse will stymie our personal growth and thwart our connectedness to others. If we are to remain mentally and emotionally healthy, then we must live in the present, cherishing the moment by moment considerations and remembering today's grain of sugar. We crucify ourselves between two thieves, regret for yesterday and fear of tomorrow. Okay, Colony, got a story about overcoming regret or fear? Have you learned to reconcile your present moment between yesterday and tomorrow? If it's not too painful, tell us about it in the comments below. Your journey will help those following behind you. If this happens to be your first time here, please know that Grains of Sugar is a viewer supported project. And if you would like to see more, then please like, subscribe, and share our videos with others. You can also buy the crew a cup of coffee or become a Colony member by joining Patreon. And don't forget to go grab some merch from our website. All the links are pinned below. Thanks for tuning in to Grains of Sugar. I've been your host, Samantha Van Valkenburg.
Me again, Mike Diaz. If you haven't heard, Grains of Sugar will be presenting a special Poetry Month recital every Saturday beginning April 4th through Saturday, May 2nd. If you have an appreciation for poetry, then you will not want to miss these special performances. Be sure to let your poetry loving friends and family know so they can mark their calendars and turn on reminders. Thanks again for sticking around to hear this important reminder. I'll be seeing you soon in another GOS video. For now, and on behalf of GOS Media, I'm Mike Diaz.